Hey everyone, welcome back to the Circle Club. I'm Tyrone. In this video, we'll be reviewing Return to Seoul. Return to Seoul is just a heartwarming story about a young French-Korean woman just trying to find her place in the world on her journey. This was a beautiful, fantastic story, and honestly, I think this is going to be one of those movies that people will be talking about during Oscar season. I'm joined today by Miss Luna. Return to Seoul is a beautiful and authentic film that explores themes of identity, family, and self-discovery. Starring the talented Jimin Park, which, by the way, this was her first role. I was stunned. I was like, soon as I finished this movie, I picked up my phone and I was like I gotta figure out what else. She just seems so familiar. Like, she has this thing about her that you're like, I want to be friends with her. I feel like I want to fall in love with her. I feel like I know her. Like, she has just such a strong connection to the audience, and like, she's just so relatable. And I couldn't believe this is one of Jimin Park's first roles. I mean, she's going to have so many offers once this movie really gets out there and gets more exposure. The movie tells the story of 25-year-old Freddie, born in South Korea and adopted by French parents. Freddie arrives in Seoul by accident after her flight to Korea gets canceled. When Freddie arrives in Seoul, she meets Tina, the hotel desk clerk, and Tina pretty much gives her game on Korean culture and how things are done, because Freddie really is French. Like, when you watch this is really like a French movie set in Korea, which makes sense because Freddie is just going through all of this identity stuff. She feels French, but inside her heart she knows there's sort of that disconnect. So Tina suggests she contacts the Hammond Adoption Center to find her biological parents. And really, this is where the story begins. Freddie must decide to face what waits or doesn't wait from her past with her biological parents, while also balancing her whole identity issues of being a Korean-born woman adopted by the French. Directed by Davy, Chou, this film is completely touching and captivating, and it really just does a great job of exploring what it means to find your place in the world. And I think that's why this is so relatable, right? Like, when we think about Everything Everywhere All at Once, this is a global phenomenon now. Like, everyone knows about this story, and the reason why that story resonates with so much, because it's at its heart about a simple principle of just choosing to be kind and happy and loving. You know, the world is a burning, hurtful place, but our actions are really everything that define who we are. And in Return to Seoul, you see this idea played with of what is home. You know, how do you define what family is? You know, do you need to have a family? Is that necessary? Like, there's all these sort of existential questions that get asked, some answered, some don't. You know how French movies are, they leave you open-ended all the time. The movie's visuals are stunning. It captures the vibrance and energy of Seoul, juxtaposed with the introspective and emotional tone of Freddie's journey. The tension between her past and present, being French and being Korean, it's so well done. I mean, like, you're watching the story the entire time and you just want more Freddie. You feel for Freddie. Sometimes you're like, Freddie's a jerk. Sometimes you're like, man, I could fall in love with Freddie. You know, like, she just has this range of emotions, and at times she has no emotions. And like, the whole time, it's one of these movies where at the start you don't really know what to make of the character, and by the end you just want to give Freddie a hug. You know, you're like, gosh, this is really sad. And it's also a larger commentary on adoption. One of my favorite movies of all time, probably top 3 movies of all time, is the movie Lion. And both of these movies do a really good job of exploring some of the unspoken, or not necessarily bad, but cause and effects of adoption. When you're adopting a kid, whether you're the same race or not, you're always going to have this disconnection. And that doesn't mean that the parent can't love the child or the child can't love the parent, but there's always this sort of biological disconnection where those children are always going to want to know where they came from. And sometimes, depending on your family structure, that can be a difficult thing to discuss and face, because some families aren't as open to that sort of conversation. And I think this movie does a really good job of showing that even if you have caring and loving parents, you still want to know, you still are curious, and sometimes your perception or your fantasy of what you think those biological parents are going to be like doesn't match up. And I think what's important to note is that is a universal experience. I think a lot of people look at their parents and they have this idea that mom, dad, dad, whatever situation you have, those people are superheroes. They aren't real. You know, you don't think about, you know, when you're younger, you're yelling at your parents, oh, I want the Xbox, I want the PlayStation, whatever it is. You're not thinking at that time. Your parents are just trying to make do with the best that they have, you know? And you carry that little burden and trauma throughout your life until hopefully you get to the age where you accept that your parents are just trying to do the best of what they had and they do love you. But overall, Return to Seoul is a touching and authentic film that explores self-discovery, family, belonging, and it has such a sensitivity and nuance to it. I mean, this is a movie that will resonate, I think, with audiences across the board. And I think it'll leave you with an appreciation with the power of just human connection, love, family, friends, and just kindness, truth be told. If you haven't seen Return to Seoul yet, I highly recommend you do. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the movie as much as I do. Make sure you guys subscribe. And as we always say, just be you. Peace.